I'm going to do a second attempt at making a from scratch pie. I've got some pumpkin puree that we pureed a while ago now. I'm pretty sure it's still good. Oh yeah, it's still good. Even it has a seed in it. That's funny. My first attempt at making a pie went pretty good. I made an apple pie. The crust just wasn't as flaky as we like our crust. So I'm going to try this again, and I am using my sourdough starter for making the crust. So this will be a sourdough starter recipe. My starter is currently unfed. It's pretty watery. It's okay. You don't really need to have fed starter for a pie because there's no rising in the crust. If there is, it's barely any. I'm going to be using my food processor to blend up the pie. It says to partially bake the crust for a pumpkin pie. So I'm going to make the pie crust first, put it in the fridge, and then I will work on our pumpkin pie filling. I'm hoping that this will come out really good. I absolutely love pumpkin pie, and I do not know what I'm doing, so come along for the ride. Would I still use the chopping part? I feel like I should put the plastic blade on. See, mine comes with a plastic blade that I'm gonna put on and see if that does well. Okay, I need 1 cup of butter. So 2 sticks of butter. We're gonna chop them up and put them in the food processor. Our dry ingredients, which is all-purpose flour, salt, and sugar. Oh gosh. I feel like working with frozen butter makes this process a little bit easier, because that's what I do for my biscuits. I always have a frozen butter stick in our fridge at all times. 1.5 cups of flour. It just says little T and big T. I'm assuming little T is a teaspoon. Hey Google, in a recipe, does little T mean teaspoon?
On the website dummies.com, they say a lowercase t can stand for teaspoon, an uppercase T can stand for tablespoon.
Okay, I don't think I was supposed to add the butter yet. Oh, well, it's too late now. We're gonna pulse it. Okay, this is not working. The butter is supposed to be turning into pea sizes. I think I need to put the other blade on. Let's try this again. It's cutting the butter now. This is also something else I've learned to always have in your fridge is starter. Make a whole batch, like a whole bunch of starter, and if you don't use it all, put some in the fridge to save for later, like times like this. Some separation. We've got a hooch right there. That's okay. We're just gonna stir it in. Whoops. Put a little too much. That's okay. Now this starter is going to go right back in the fridge because I don't need it. Oops. I am making a mess. It just says to pulse until it turns into a dough. I think it looks pretty doughish. Okay, now we gotta flour our surface. It says do not knead. It will cause the butter to melt. So you want to gently fold it into layers, which will also get that flaky texture that I'm wanting, that I didn't know that I needed to do when I first made my apple pie. So that's something to remember. If you are wanting flaky layers, to fold, not knead. Butter also does play a role in that as well. I've learned a lot since my last pie. It's the same technique that you use when basically making biscuits. All right. Actually has to chill for an hour in the fridge. Definitely don't want the butter to melt. We're just doing this until the flour is incorporated, which I feel like it looks pretty good. Now this dough does make two pies, I guess. It says it makes a top and a bottom, but for pumpkin pie you don't really need a top, you just need a bottom. So we're gonna cut it in half, and I guess I'll be making another pie a little bit later. I don't know, we'll have to. All right, I don't know, that looks pretty even, right? We're gonna cut it in half. All right, now we're gonna shape it into a disc. You do want it round, so that way when you go to roll it out, you actually have a round pie crust. Alright, go put these in the fridge for an hour. While that is in the fridge for an hour, we're going to go ahead and start on the pumpkin puree and the pumpkin pie filling. I'm using the Joy of Cooking cookbook. I absolutely love this cookbook. The last copyright date is 1975. This is a cookbook that my grandmother used, my great grandmother used. I was looking through my grandmother's cookbook and I fell in love with it and I had to order it. But basically I call this my kitchen textbook. It tells you everything you need to know that there is to need to know in the kitchen. Making pasta, making sourdough. Sourdough is in here. I have never seen a cookbook with sourdough in it. Sourdough is in here. Making pasta, making sauces from scratch, learning about your seasonings. It even talks about the different seasonings, teaches you how to cook eggs properly, instructions on how to cook an egg. What cookbook has that? This is the cookbook that you need to get if you want to learn everything there is to learn in a kitchen. I have literally been reading it like you would read a school textbook. Love it. Anyways, I had to give the cookbook a shout out. Look, it even has mayonnaise. Want to show you how to make your own mayonnaise. This is just the index. Also has like a menu section, so if you're struggling trying to figure out what goes together, what would be nice, it does it for you. It will tell you, hey, this will go with this goes with this. It even tells you substitutions. It literally tells you everything. Anyways, okay, pumpkin. I think I need to look for pie. Okay, so we might have a problem. My camera's dying. Gosh darn it. I have to cook my pumpkin. My pumpkin's not cooked. It says 2 cups of cooked or canned pumpkin or squash. I didn't cook my pumpkin before pureeing it. That's where we messed up with the pumpkin puree. So I will be back. I'm gonna figure out how to cook pumpkin. I ended up just putting 2 cups of the pumpkin puree in a pot and bringing it to a simmer. Hopefully that's cooked enough. It's time to start shaping our pie crust. This is the pan I'm using. It's 9.5. So hopefully we got enough crust, because the one she's doing calls for 9 inches, but here nor there. According to the instructions, I have to get this done in under 5 minutes or it will hinder the shape of the pie crust. It doesn't say to spray the pan, but I'm doing that. Let's see if I can get this done in 5 minutes. Hey Google, set timer 5 minutes.
Got it. 5 minutes. And that's starting now.
See, this is what happened to my last one. It busted. Dripping. I need a new rolling pin. Look at that. It keeps breaking. See if that's big enough. Haha! It's big enough, y'all. It is big enough. All right, just like that. Now, what I learned last time is if I put it on my rolling pin like this, and then drape it over, it works a heck of a lot better. Look at that. And that rip part doesn't even matter. I did it. All right. There we go. There's our pie crust. Look at that. Went so much smoother than last time. Now I gotta put some parchment paper down, and it says to put dry beans. I've got a whole pound of navy beans. I don't even know what I bought these for. So these are gonna turn into my pie baking beans. This helps your pie crust keep its shape. You don't want to skip this step, or else your pie crust will shrink. Okay. Make sure. All right, hopefully that's right. Hopefully a pound of beans is good enough. Hey Google, stop. Now we're just going to bake it like this for 7 minutes, and while this is baking, I'm going to put together our pumpkin pie filling. We do 1.5 cups of evaporated milk, which I'm pretty positive it's going to be the whole can. Okay, so 1.5 cups is basically a whole 12-ounce can. Half a cup of white sugar. We need a half a teaspoon of salt. Where'd my teaspoon go? Hey Siri. I gotta hurry up. I hear baby crying. Okay, half a teaspoon of ginger. All right, we need half a teaspoon of ginger. All right, and then a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. All right, nutmeg, and a 1/8 tablespoon of cloves. I heard that quail eggs are really good for pastry baking. So I'm gonna put quail eggs in the pie instead of chicken eggs just to see how it turns out. It's supposed to give a lot more of a richer flavor. Equivalent to 1 chicken egg is 3 quail eggs. So we need 2 chicken eggs. So we need 6 quail eggs for this. But look how cute these things are. These are quail eggs. They're so tiny. All right. 3. One, 2, 3. I don't know. I'm gonna add 2 more because that doesn't look like enough egg. I had one thing say 3 to 1, and then I had another thing say 5 to 1. So I'm just going to add 2 more. Alright, that kind of looks more like 1 or 2 chicken eggs, maybe. I don't know. That seems so little. All right, we add this in here. Now we're just going to mix everything together. Our pie crust did shrink, and it has holes. Gosh darn it. I don't know how well this pie crust is going to turn out. But we're gonna pour our pie mixture in. Oh man, I don't know. Okay. Our pie mixture. We are baking at 425 for 15 minutes. Hey Google, set timer 15 minutes.
Okay, 15 minutes. Starting now.
After that time is up, we then reduce the heat to 350 and bake for about 45 minutes longer until the inserted knife comes out clean. And then you serve with sweetened whipped cream, which I will be making. Does it tell you? You can also make this by omitting the milk and adding molasses and sour cream. That sounds interesting. I wonder if it has a recipe for whipping cream or whipped cream. The whipping cream says, this is skimmed from milk that has been standing for 24 hours or longer, meaning you milked your cow and you let it stand for 24 hours or longer. That way it separates from the cream, the fats, and the milk layer. I've watched enough YouTube videos. Even like in this book, it's coming straight from the cow. So we're going to have to use heavy whipping cream because unfortunately I don't have a cow. So light whipping cream has 30 to 36% milk fat. Cream containing 36 to 40% milk fat is referred to as heavy cream. Whipping cream must be at least a day old and expands to twice the volume by incorporating of air. The pie has now been in the oven for over an hour and it's still very liquidy. The pie crust is brown. So I think I'm gonna take it out and maybe it will settle as it cools off. The crust is brown and it is super jiggly. Got a little bit of a learning lesson. I should have just stopped baking at the 45 minutes because the crust is really crusty. But the pie is actually set now. Look at that. There's our whipping cream. No, don't do that. About to throw it at the camera. Be upset. Oh. That tastes good. Thank you.
Yes.
Moment of truth. I'm scared. He's making a face.
Flavor's good. Crust is good.
I think it tastes good.
It's a little mush.
Pumpkin pie is always mush.
Oh, it's not. More like farmed.
I don't know. I think it tastes great.
I didn't say it tasted bad.
If you haven't seen my video of me making my very first pie, go check it out. Hit the subscribe button. And we'll be back next week.